right, welcome to another Friday night episode of Keto Rocks Radio. I'm Jim Hobbs, and on the screen is my carnivore co-host, Brian Damage Forsythe of the band Kix and Rhino Bucket. And we're just glad you're joining with us this evening. So welcome, everybody. How's it going, Brian?
Pretty good. No,
Okay.
actually, it's been doing. Yeah, I've been actually I tried something new this week, or not this week, but the last couple of weeks. I'd never tried acupuncture before. I don't know if I mentioned this on the show last week.
I think no, you did touch base on it. You were going to I don't know if we did that on the air or off the air. I know you did one day, you were going back the second day. Did you go back the second day to get your
Yeah, I think I've done it 3 times now.
Okay, yeah. So when we talked about it, you had done it once. So what do you think? What's the results?
It's weird. It's so subtle. I think I'm feeling an improvement. It's hard to tell because, that in conjunction with exercise and all that, I can't tell which is affecting it more than the other, but it does seem, well, like yesterday, I had it done the day before yesterday. Yesterday, when I woke up in the morning, I wasn't quite as stiff as I normally am when I first get out of bed. I'm usually like, oh. and then, once I get moving, it loosens up. But yesterday, it wasn't half as bad as it usually is. Now, this morning, it felt like it normally does. So I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Now, how long? Now, when I did my sessions, I think they were like 45 minutes. They put the needles in and let me sit there for 15 minutes and marinate in the needles and let the needles do what they're supposed to do and open up those passages. So how long was your sessions?
Half hour.
Okay.
But she sticks them in, and then I lay there for a half hour.
Yeah. Now for me, a couple of times I just went to sleep. I mean, those things are just really, did you go to sleep as well? Yeah, it just relaxes you.
Well, there's nothing else to do either.
Like we could pull the needles out, but that would defeat the purpose. But yeah, I don't know what, is that covered under your, I was going to say, is that covered under your healthcare, but you don't have healthcare. I don't either. So I was paying, I want to say $75. $65 or $75 a visit.
Yeah, I forget my initial visit was more expensive, and then all these follow-ups are just like $50 or something, which is way worth it,
Oh yeah, definitely worth it. So yeah, I found it to be very well, as I said before, I don't know on the air or off the air, but it definitely caused my rotator cuff and my shoulders to not for me to have surgery, and I can use them again. So I'm very appreciative of the results that I received, especially the relief at the time, because it was pretty pain ridden anytime I moved the wrong direction. But that's all gone now, so I'm good. So it's nice not to have to go through surgery, because that's what the first thing everybody tells you. Oh, you're going to have to get rotator cuff surgery, and
surgery.
So between what's
surgery,
that, Brian?
Surgery should be the last
resort.
Option.
Yeah, the last option. I mean, you should try everything, which I'm just not a big believer in any of it. I mean, certain times it's needed, but between the beamer and doing acupuncture and exercise, and then I finally went to a physical therapy place for about a month, but they did another type of needling. It was called wet needling, where they literally stick the needle, and they're doing it. They find the muscle and they stick you in there, and then they're just jabbing you like really quick, and you feel it's like the muscle trying to get away. It's like doing this, and you feel that, and it's so weird that you just got to go stop. I mean, a couple of times I was like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with this session, because it just feels so weird. It's just like so, but it also has a lot of benefits as well. But
I've had the one where they shoot the electricity in there in your muscle.
That works as well. I mean, that at least it did for me. what do they call that? I forget, but there's a,
Yeah, I forget too.
yeah, because there's a little device a buddy of mine let me use and did the same thing. You put those little diodes. There was two of them on, and it's just, you know, your muscles are just twitching. Yeah, that's much better, by the way, than the wet needling. The wet needling definitely is just really, in my opinion, it works, but it's just really extreme on you. Like, doesn't really hurt. It's just weird to the nth degree where you're just like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore. But I'll do anything than taking a knife and cutting me open and actually going there and working. I'd rather use some other alternative methods than surgery any day of the week.
Right. Yeah, I'm not into replacement parts.
So talking about strategies and alternative methods, wanted to kind of talk about cooking methods and kind of like a lot of confusing terms. And look, I'm sharing this just so I understand the true definition of what some of these terms are. But I was reading through a book, and they were going through the 5 most common strategies for cooking proteins. And I think if you watch this show, you know that that's what we love to do, is smoke proteins and grill proteins and eat proteins. So Brian, you want to kind of guess what those 5 cooking methods are?
Well, I would say sear. I would say roast, which
that's 2. That's 2 of them. That's 2. So you got 2. Where's my little dinger? Ding, ding.
There'd be saute.
Saute. That's 3. You got 2 left.
Well, there's the slow cooker method. I don't know what that's called.
That it make the list, but both of these you do. These last 2 that you have to guess, you do.
Smoke.
Well, smoke's not on there, believe it or not, but it's part of something else that you do.
Well, grill.
There you go, grill. Ding, ding, ding. That's number 4. You got 1 left.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you got 1 left.
Well, there's the sous vide.
Well, that's true. That's my favorite. This should be. That's not on the list.
But that's more. I use that more for. I mean, I've used it for the preheating, but I'll use that more for the reheating. But
right.
Wow, what's the last one?
It starts with a B. I'll even give you a hint.
Oh, braise.
There you go. That's it. You got all 5 of them. So,
it's funny because I just, you know, a lot of times when I make my meals, I'll make something alternate for Shannon, because she doesn't eat exactly the same way that I eat. So she had this, one of our friends had posted a picture of this meal she made of meatballs. And so Shannon was craving meatballs. So I said, oh, I can make you some meatballs yesterday. And so I made her this little dish that I baked them in this dish. I had like marinara sauce and, you know, 3 different cheeses and all this stuff. And after I'd stuck it in the oven, I thought, oh man, I forgot to braise the meatballs, because that's one of the things you do with meatballs.
Right.
And I didn't do it, but it turned out okay. So she still ate it.
she didn't know any different.
Well, I told her, I said, I'm going to apologize beforehand just in case this doesn't turn out right. But
well, it is a process. Now, you know, this book says their favorite method of cooking proteins is pan searing, which with the black iron skillet. So, you know, for you guys out there looking to, well, how can I cook my steak? This is what it says. You know, go grab yourself a black iron skillet. That's all you're really going to need, and that can cook steaks as high as 2 inches thick. They say get a little avocado oil to use because it has such a low smoke threshold, and a light dusting of kosher salt, and that's all you need. Everything else is optional. And as Brian is fully aware, pan searing is fast and easy. And
I prefer the reverse sear though.
And so Tell everybody what the reverse sear is, Brian.
Yeah, because I get that question a lot, because I'll post
Right.
that. It's just basically what you're doing is you're pre-cooking the meat to the internal temperature. So like for me, 120, which is medium rare. So and you can heat it. There's any way that you can heat it. You can use that method, like sous vide. You can do it in the oven. I do it in the smoker, and I just put the thermometer thing in there, and or the meat probe, whatever you call it, and just take it up to 120, and then I pull it off and rest it while I'm heating. You can either do it like they say, a cast iron skillet, or I do it on my Blackstone griddle. And you just, once the griddle gets hot, then you just throw it. I put some ghee on the surface, and I just throw the steak on there, and yeah, so basically it's already cooked by the time you throw it on the sear. So you're just searing the outside of it, and the inside comes out perfect every time.
Now, do you buy your ghee at the grocery store, or do you order it off of Amazon?
Both. The only problem is, like, I'll buy the bigger container off of Amazon, but the problem is it comes in plastic, which bugs me. I'm not a fan of things that come in plastic. And the one at the store comes in a glass jar, but it's smaller. So I'll buy the glass jar for up here in the kitchen, and then I have the big one down there with my Blackstone that I use just to throw it on there.
Now, ghee, for people who are wondering what it was, because I didn't know what it was either, but it's nothing more than clarified butter.
Yeah, I just had that question yesterday. I had to explain it. Yeah, it's just butter that has had the dairy part of it removed, so all you have is the butter fat and the flavor.
So the flavor's still intact.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So they recommend in here that use avocado oil is their number one choice, but ghee's right up there as well. And then
yeah,
butter.
Yeah, with the ghee, by removing the dairy, it raises the smoke point as well.
Yeah. So they also recommend, which I don't, but they say for lower temperatures, you can use olive oil for a lower temp if you want to you do that. And I guess I've done that in the past, but avocado oils.
It's hard to sear at a lower temperature, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I
need it like smoking hot.
Yeah, you definitely need it. I usually use bacon grease actually when I throw mine on. Like we did, I did the same way. So we had some T-bone steaks on Saturday and Sunday, which I just smoked on the grill, very low temperature, brought them up to about 120, and then just, I mean, they were so full of smoke. They were delicious, and I just threw them on the skillet for about a minute, 30 seconds on each side at a high temperature, and got the marks. And gosh, it was delicious. Matter of fact, I had a leftover one last night, and it was so. I still smell the taste, that smoke flavor, and that's what I love about the Traeger, is being able to let your meat take on that smoke and then finish it up on the
they have
reverse sear, as Brian says.
The super smoke setting for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of leftovers,
okay.
I had leftovers yesterday. So I had well, you probably saw my post. I had the short ribs that were left over, and then I had a part of a steak that was left over, and then I also had that venison tenderloin, the backstrap left over, like just a little chunk of it. And so I chopped all that up and threw it in an omelet. And man, that venison, I can't get over how good that venison was. Shannon was like, she doesn't like venison, so she's like, oh, and I'm like, no, you don't understand.
Bambi tastes good.
It was so tender, even cold. Like I was cutting it up, and I put a piece in my mouth, and it just melted in my mouth like cold. I mean,
wow.
It was so tender. You didn't even have to. I mean, you wouldn't even need teeth to chew it.
Wow. That somebody must. Now, did you cook it fresh? How'd you cook the venison, or someone give you the venison already cooked?
No, it was they just sent it frozen. So I thawed it out, and then I did the same reverse sear. I put it on the smoker and then threw it on the Blackstone. And
I
it was
used to,
perfect.
yeah, we used to throw venison in and on a slow cooker when I leave work in the morning, and I just let it simmer all day. And I come home that evening, and I would just almost treat it like a barbecue. I'd pull from the shoulder, I shred it all up, and I had a barbecue sauce, and it was delicious. I used to make like my version of a sloppy Joe with venison meat, and it was
Ah,
delicious. So yeah, to me, venison, when you cook it for long, slow and long, it's going to be very, very tender piece of meat.
well, this is the tenderloin, so it's like the fillet,
Yeah, that's yeah, that's the cream of the crop right there that you were enjoying.
Yeah.
So that's one way of doing it. Now, do you use kosher salt when you're
I
seasoning your
I
meat, or
use
do you just use regular Redmond salt?
Yeah, I use the Redmonds. I have different versions of it. So I have the coarse that I have in a grinder. So that's usually what I'll use on the steak is the grinder. And then I also have the smoke salt that I'll put around the edge just to add a little bit of extra something.
Yeah, I hey, did you try you had, I think it was you got the smoked salt from Redmond's? Have you tried that yet?
No, because I still have here, I'll show you what I have. I don't know if I've already held this up for the camera, but this. Sorry. I have this is what I had discovered first was before Redmond started making it. It's from
San Francisco Salt Company.
yeah, so I still have that to go through, but this is the Redmonds. They just came out with this. I'm sure it's great because everything they do is great.
Yes, it is.
So
I just finally got my order back in for my Redmond's electrolytes, so they should be as a matter of fact, they should be arriving today. So looking forward to having that back in stock.
oh, was it
So,
had it been out of stock?
well, for mine, after I got the plain, so I finally just gave up. I ordered the. I don't usually do this, but I tried the mango, and I figured the mango could go with my CoQ10 that I take in the morning. So I'm gonna go roll with the mango for a while.
Yeah,
So
I have the plain. I usually always have a container of plain, and then I'll have like a flavored one. And now I have it's the pina colada flavor, but I only
yeah,
use
I
like
saw that one.
I'll use like a quarter of a little spoonful just to like take the edge off of something that's not doesn't have a good taste. Like my essential amino acids, they're kind of like metallic tasting. So I'll put a little bit of that in there. Or if I'm having just straight electrolytes, I'll use a scoop of the plain and then I'll put just a quarter scoop of the flavor just to take the edge off.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't. Mine should arrive today.
But when
Um,
I've tried like a full scoop of the flavored, and it's a little overwhelming. I'm not into sweet anymore. It's just too
yeah,
sweet for me.
yeah. It's amazing when you get away from that sweetness, how even you're able to taste sweetness in any type of food. You're able to taste, oh, that's why when you're someplace, you go, wait a minute, what's this got in it? You can taste that
Right.
they've added sugar to it, to the
Yeah.
sauce or something, because
Yeah.
you actually are able to detect that. Um, but let's back to the pan searing. So if you're out there watching this show and you want to know what the pan searing method is, Brian's giving you a great description of what reverse searing that he does and that I also use at times. But if you're just pan searing, you want to season your meat and you just want to crank it up high, put it on for a few minutes, leave it there and flip it over after a couple minutes. That's all there is to it. Remove your protein from the heat and just allow it to rest for a few minutes and then get ready to cut into it and enjoy. So typically I just use salt and pepper, but I know a lot of people can flavor it however they want to. You saw the smoked salt that Brian has there from the San Francisco Salt Company. And that's a great thing to add. But if you don't have a smoker, and you do have a smoker, I would try the reverse sear method. Just let that piece of meat be in that with super smoke setting. Just let it take on that flavor of whatever you want to use. I use hickory a lot, or mesquite. Peggy likes cherry, but I'm more of a hickory mesquite person. So what's your chips you use, Brian?
I bounce between mesquite and oak.
Oak, okay.
Oak is actually my go-to, but mesquite's the second. So I actually mix them, like whatever's in there, I'll just dump something else on top. It's like it's so subtle of a difference you can't really tell.
Yeah.
I think you can tell more if you're using actual logs.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. But yeah, so if you've never tried pan searing, there's your chance to go out there and experiment a little bit on your own, and then you get a chance to flavor it to taste. I will say this, salt makes a big difference, and use a quality salt, because you can use some salts and they literally add nothing to your protein. And then sometimes if you use a good salt after using bad salt, you'll realize that the good salt has a lot more saltiness to it, and you can sometimes over salt if you're using the same amount that you use with a lesser brand salt brand, if that makes any sense.
It seems to me that the smoked salt is a little saltier too. Like if I put a little too much of that on, it'll be a little too overwhelming. I don't know.
And that's where blue cheese butter sauce comes in. I don't know, they use a lot of blue cheese crumbles, but Peggy and I'll take blue cheese and real butter and just make a blue cheese sauce, and sometimes pour it over our steak, and that is delicious. The other method, which back to the pan searing method, we're talking about steaks, but I mean, you can use it for anything you want. You can use it for your salmon, you can use it for chicken, fish, you can use it for scallops, shrimp. Scallops is a great thing to, I mean, that's the way you want to cook it, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's an art to that one too, to get it right.
Yeah, because if you don't, it'll be too rubbery.
Well, the main thing you want to do with scallops is make sure they're dry. Like if there's any moisture in them, it'll mess up the browning process.
Yeah, so just don't get them. I typically get them, I do wash them off, I rinse them off, and then I put them on paper towels and let them sit there for a while. Then I'll put another row of paper towels on them, and I'll just press down on them. And then just fire up the black iron skillet, throw some butter on there along with some garlic, and place them down, and then flip them over, and man,
once you put them, you don't put them in, you don't touch them until they're brown on the
right. You start to see the edges, and then just flip them over and do it for how long you need to do that. But I went to go look at to pick up oysters the other day, and they were trading for, oh my gosh, well, not the oysters, but the scallops. They were trading at $24.99 a pound.
Wow.
Yeah, $24.99 a pound. I got oysters, which I love oysters. That's probably one of my favorite as well. So, all right, so that's pan searing. And now let's talk about another favorite method people use, which is saute, which is, you may be saying, well, what's the difference? Which is what I said, just so everybody knows. Because sauteing is, I'll just read you the definition they give us. It's pretty much identical to pan searing, except it involves cooking smaller pieces of food. Using this technique for bite-sized pieces of meat, ground proteins, ground beef, lamb, chicken, turkey, or pork. This technique might involve more prep work, which means you got to cut the meat in smaller pieces, but it allows you to throw in chopped up flavor vegetables, onions, garlic, and use the technique to really bring a lot of flavor into your protein. So that's another method.
Yeah, I used to use that method a lot more when I was eating vegetables.
Yeah,
because I would, saute the onions, and then I'd throw the other stuff in with it.
And then one of the things that I still like to do, and you do too, Brian, is making omelets and scrambled eggs.
Oh yeah.
Sauteing the onions, and I know you probably don't do this as much as you used to, but I know we used to do the onions and green peppers, and those two just go together. Put some garlic
And fresh garlic. Yeah.
Yes, fresh. Yeah, you gotta have the fresh garlic, and then if you want to add in your meats and sausage and ground beef and bacon and then smoked oysters, whatever you want to put in there, and then dump your eggs on there and make yourself an omelet. And something else that's really good to saute too is mushrooms and butter. Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, I used to love all that stuff. I just have to, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, you got to listen to your body, and know your body well, so you got to follow what the body's telling you. So your body's saying protein, protein, and protein.
And it smells good when you're sauteing that stuff too.
Oh, that's what gets me. Anytime the circus comes to town, you're walking around and they got those big old sausage links with the green peppers and onions and the butter. That gets me every time. That's that definitely gets me every time. Now I still, you can eat that. It's just I still don't eat it without the bread, because that's the other thing they do. Yeah, and you get a lot more when you don't have the bread too, as well. And talking about that, I saw one of our very own Linda went out and finally went to Five Guys based on the number of pictures that you post there, Brian, and decided to get her cheeseburger from Five Guys as well, and thoroughly enjoyed it. So
I love those burgers. They're so good. And the one that I go to here in Hendersonville, it's I mean, they're all good, but there's certain ones that are just better. And this, for some reason, that one, it's just like, I don't know what they do that's different, but they're just so juicy. And I could, and I eat I get 3 of them, which are double patties. So that's 6 patties. And then I just dump them all into one and just have this pile of meat and cheese and bacon. Oh man, so good.
Now, what does Shannon get when you guys go there? Does she get the same thing?
Yeah, she gets the burger bowl. But she gets toppings on hers, like the mushrooms and the onions and ketchup and mustard. But yeah, and pickles. But she doesn't get the bun anymore. She used to get the bun, but now she doesn't.
Now, is she noticing a difference? Does she notice a difference not having the bread? Does she miss it? Or just once in a while she'll have some?
No, she just seems to, I mean, I think she's convinced that it's just as good without it. In fact, it's less filling, so.
Yeah. The thing to me with the bread, it's almost like it's taking up space, and then you're hungry like 30 minutes to an hour later, like you want more. It just causes you to raise those insulin spikes. And with not having the bread, you just like,
well, yeah,
I feel full.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like, for me, it's just, I'm eating the nutritious part of it. I'm not wasting calories or whatever, empty calories on bread. It's like,
right.
You don't need that. I mean, that's basically, just so you can hold it, but you don't need to hold it. Just eat it with a knife and a fork.
Yeah. I mean, it's a delivery vehicle is all bread is. It's just a way to be able for you to devour the protein. But, I like Hardee's and Five Guys. I know Hardee's, you can get a carb wrap, and they'll just wrap it up in a big thing of romaine lettuce for you. And that's a great way to be able to eat it as well. But if you're at a restaurant, like when we order it without the bun, it's totally fine. It's bacon cheeseburgers with mayo is probably one of my favorite dishes you can have that's flavorful next to a good ribeye.
Yeah, I've gotten it to where I don't even think about toppings. It's like I just love it the way it is, and for me it doesn't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
So now we're going to talk about another method in which to prepare your protein, which is braising. And braising is very similar to the pan searing, except that Go
Yeah,
ahead, Brian.
it's basically just browning the outside before you like either bake it or you slow cook it or something.
Yeah, you're going to put it on low, and or take it and put it in the oven for that 300 degrees and just let it simmer. And whatever the protein may be, it may be lamb chops, it may be ribs. I mean, not ribs. It may be leftover brisket or something, or short ribs. I mean, that's what I was trying to pull out. How do
Yeah,
you how,
those
how do you do your short ribs?
oh, my short ribs.
Yeah.
I slow smoke those.
Okay. Do you
But
finish them off, or you just smoke them? That's it.
nah, I just put the rub on there and then I just smoke them till I take the probe, and when it's like butter, I know it's done. If, I've done it where I've smoked it all the way to the end, and I also wrap them. I've done them both ways. I kind of like the wrapping them at the end. I put them in butcher paper, and that helps speed it up and soften them up. This, it's funny though. This last batch I made, it was kind of a fail.
Oh no.
They came out a
Why
little
do you
bit.
say that?
They came out a little bit dry for some reason. I don't know why. They were really. I got them from U.S. Wellness Meats, and they were grass fed, so they didn't have as much fat in them. Maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I've never had a problem with it before. They've always turned out great every time, but this time they were a little bit dry. I don't. It was disappointing, but yeah, you're talking about braising, but lamb loin chops. Wow, those
Yes.
so good. And you braise those, and but actually those you can. How do I do that? Maybe it's not the lamb loin chops. No, those I can. I think I can just sear. Maybe I'm thinking, oh, beef cheeks. That's another one.
Okay.
Yeah, those you braise and then throw them in like a slow cooker.
And how long you cook those on? You put those on a slow cooker. How long?
I usually let it go all day long.
Okay.
Sometimes I use beef cheeks for like if I'm making bone broth, I'll just throw those in there with it and just let it go until they're just falling apart in there. But they add so much more flavor to the bone broth and nutrients actually too.
I need to do that. We just made some bone broth. As a matter of fact, I've been drinking bone broth like it's coffee. I've been having one every morning instead of coffee. I've been every other day. So I'm weaning myself off the coffee. But that bone broth, oh my gosh. As you know, when that's cooking and it's just the smell that permeates the air in our house, you're just like, oh gosh, I can't wait to get it. And then when I do pour myself a cup of it and drink it, my body rejoices every time I have that bone broth. It's just so good. And if you're not saving your bones from the steaks that you're eating at home, you're making a huge mistake. Just get yourself a freezer bag. Oh, Brian's got his.
And he
There you
says,
go.
bones for broth.
Yeah, that's exactly what our bag looks like. Kept it the same place right there. Open up the freezer at the bottom, pull it out, is right there. And every time we have steaks, we just throw the bones in there. And
yeah, I have that. And plus I have packs of like knuckle bones and joint bones, because those are really good for the collagen and all that. It makes it really jelly like.
well, I tell you, that's becoming my favorite. And I'm thinking I would like to maybe make like a egg wonton soup, but just the eggs along with the bone broth.
Oh, that would be good.
And yeah, I've been thinking of that's been popping out in my head lately. So I'm like, that would be really good. I'm going to do that next time we make some. I think we got very little bone broth left, so we're going to make some today or tomorrow. But today is Slinky's food preparations day. So it's its favorite day of the week. So he loves to stand close to Peggy's feet as she cooks everything for him, because he gets the chance to lick the salmon can, the tuna can. as he looks forward to his num nums. Another method which we've all probably used is roasting. That's another method if you like want to roast chicken or roast Brussels sprouts, or even fish with asparagus and carrots, and or even roasting bacon you can do. I don't know if you roast your bacon. That's how I do it. I put it at 400. I put it on a sheet, and on a rack actually, and just put them in there for 17 to 20 minutes depending on what oven I'm using. And man, that crisp bacon that comes out of there, delicious.
Yeah, I've only tried to do it in the oven a couple times, and I've messed it up every time. I'm better with I do it in the
Brine, yeah.
but
no, I used to.
You can't do as much at one time when you do it in the skillet.
Yeah, they need to make a black. I mean, I know they probably do, but there's a square, because the only problem with the black iron skillet, you got two pieces of bacon that's able to stretch out. The other ones are right in the sides of the black iron skillet. But with the racks, when we put it in the oven at I think literally at 400 degrees for 17 to 20 minutes, it comes out just flat and crispy, and Peggy loves crispy bacon over when it's cooked in the black iron skillet. So,
well, I've learned that slow cooking it in the skillet brings more of the fat out, renders the fat. Like I'll put it on like my burners have the numbers. I put it on like 2, which is low, and I'll just let it sit there until it's like almost ready. And then if I have to add eggs or something, then I'll crank it up to 3 and then throw the eggs in. But it really cooks it slower. Like, cause I used to crank it and fry it, and then it'd be too cooked on one side, or, too crisp and burnt. And then the other side would be like still kind of half like soft. So doing it like slow the whole way through, it seems to make it more consistent.
All right, it's that time of the show where we get a chance to check in with Mr. Brian Shanker of the MeatTribe channel for those meat deals of the week. So, Brian, what do you have for us tonight?
All right, guys, I've got a couple of good deals. I'm going to talk about more than just the 2, but the first of those 2 is at Food Lion. The deal runs through May 24th. They have choice grade boneless ribeye steaks on sale for $7.99 per pound. And if your Food Lion has a saw, unlike Jim's, they will cut it to your preferred thickness. And Food Lion also has some choice grade stew beef on sale for $5.49 per pound. The other deal, I started to do a hot pick of the week on my channel and forgot that I was doing it, so I didn't keep up with it, but this would be considered a hot pick of the week.
Okay.
It's at Aldi, and it runs through the 24th, and it's 73% lean ground beef in a 5-pound package for $2.19 a pound. That's the cheapest we've seen ground beef in quite a while, but it is 73% lean ground beef in a 5-pound package for $2.19 per pound. So that's my hot pick of the week.
That's my favorite.
Okay.
That's my favorite percentage for ground beef.
Mine too. I switched to that during the pandemic. For my stuff, Walmart had them prepackaged in the little, look like the Bob Evans sausage roll type thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were only $1.99 per pound back then. But now they're like, $3.99 unless they're on sale. But do you have Aldi down there, Brian?
Yeah. Okay. There's one not too far from here, actually.
All right. So when you cook, I was going to ask you this anyway. When you're cooking a dish with ground beef, do you strain it, or are you just making hamburger patties?
Yeah, I usually just use it as hamburger patties, but yeah, I've made that mistake though, because I've made Shannon a few things with the ground beef where I baked it in something, and then it comes out of the oven and it's just got this layer of grease on top.
Okay, yeah, because when we do tacos and stuff for the kids and that I'm always draining it, but I'm gonna make my keto friendly dirty rice today. with this meat, and I always strain it, and I was thinking maybe I should make it without straining it and see if it adds, with the grease still in there, the fat rendered out still, if it makes it taste a little bit better. So we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see.
It just depends on how well you can tolerate the extra fat,
Yeah.
I can, but some people can't.
That's true. All right. So next up, Harris Teeter through May 24th. I only have 2 deals, and they are the Rancher grade whole tenderloin for $11.99 per pound, or the choice grade whole tenderloin for $12.99 per pound. They had some filet mignons on sale, but they were $15.99 a pound, and then the prime I think was like 20 something. So these are the only 2 good deals as far as beef goes at Harris Teeter this week. Kroger's got a few things going through the 24th. They've got some choice grade boneless New York strip steaks for $10.99 per pound, and some choice grade brisket for $3.99 per pound. And they have their boneless private selection Angus marinated tri-tips. So it's already in a marinade for $7.99 per pound. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you would check that out.
Marinades scare me when.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Sugar, and sugar on top of sugar, right?
Yeah.
Along with seed oils.
Yeah, too.
But they've got a brisket on sale, $3.99 per pound.
Ooh.
Yeah, that sounds inviting, except that I have like 5 of them in my freezer.
Can never have too many briskets, right?
Yeah.
And then so the last deal is with the last couple of deals, Giant Eagle. Their deals run through the 25th. They have certified Angus beef, boneless petite top sirloin steaks or fillets in a value pack for $5.99 per pound, or the prime grade for $7.99 per pound. So those are the all the deals that I got for you guys today. I'll have more on my channel, but I did want to comment, prices, we're seeing it. Prices are going up. And I don't know if people are noticing, but in other goods other than like packaged meats and fresh meats, portion sizes are going down. For instance, we get a bruschetta pizza for my kids, and the square brick oven one, you used to be able to, with pepperoni, you would have 5 rows of 5 pieces of pepperoni, and now you're getting like 4 rows of 5 pepperoni. And the rising crust circle one, they're using the same packaging, but the pizza's smaller, and there's like, it used to be tight in the package. There's like an inch all the way around the pizza of no pizza. So the wrapper's the same, the pizza's smaller. So, it's getting these sales is more important than ever. If you're watching your dollars, just, look out for the sales. You're still going to find some good meat on sale every week.
Yeah.
Did we lose you, Jim?
Uh-oh. He's just sitting there.
Yeah. Did you fall asleep, or did you? Uh-oh. Interesting.
Froze.
I wonder if
I was a little worried about 5 minutes before I logged on. My electricity went out for like 30 seconds or so. I'm like,
wow. I wonder if he even knows. There, he dropped off. He'll be back.
Maybe he's having internet deal.
Yeah.
Problems.
He'll have to go back and watch the replay.
Yeah.
But that's weird. If he's frozen and dropped off, we're on his Zoom call. So why didn't it cut us out?
Maybe I'm a co-host.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, I'm back. I don't know what happened. That was crazy. You just, on my screen, Brian, you just froze. You were right in the middle saying the circle, and then all of a sudden, man, I don't know if it was big pharma or the food industry took you out from sharing the secret, but it just froze up.
Brian and I were good the whole time. So, and
Yeah.
it says it's still recording. So I don't know if the full thing's going to be there or not.
Well, we'll find out. But anyway, if you finish, then I'll go back and see. If not, if you want to repeat yourself, I'll call you back up. I don't.
Yeah, the gist of it was prices are going up, portion sizes are going down. So the sales, it's more important than ever if you're watching your money to look out for the sales. You're still going to find some meat on sale every week. You know, you just have to look for it and and hold out for what you really want at the prices you want to get it at the best price you can get it.
Yeah.
The sad part about it is and I just found this out recently. I'm not a smoker, but people were telling me, I was speaking to someone the other day about cigarettes and talking about an expensive habit. I had no clue it was as expensive as it is. So I was like, wow.
What's it up to now?
Well, they were saying it was like $7.95 a pack. And then like in New York, it's like over $10 a pack,
Wow.
which makes, and I'm thinking, wow. And you see those people who are out there smoking all during their breaks. I mean, that's literally probably lighting up a dollar bill every time they're smoking one. I mean, that's so talking about price increase. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But everything's going up. I went to Costco, which normally has the cheapest price for gasoline, and I put the high test in our vehicle. It was $95 and some change yesterday to fill up the Murano.
Wow.
And someone at a truck, they were filling up theirs. Theirs was $155 for one of those like F-350s.
Oh.
I'm just poof. So yeah, so that you feel. I mean, you put $155 in or even $95 in your tank. They used to cost me $50 to fill that truck up at the most.
Yeah.
Now it's $95, which is about once a week with the amount of travel that I do. So yeah, things are going up.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how the other plant-based protein foods and the sugar products and the processed foods seem to be at a relatively lower inflation rate than the meats. And I don't know about in Maryland or in Tennessee, but inventory is becoming a huge problem. Like even at Walmart, Food Line and Aldi's, the shelves are sometimes bare.
Yeah.
And it takes a while for products to come in. So you're seeing a supply chain issue as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too in Maryland.
Anyway, well, we appreciate you jumping on. And if someone wants to find you, they just go to the YouTube, plug in the MeatTribe. There you go, wearing it loud and proud. So awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Brian. We will see you next week and have a great week.
Sounds good. You too.
All right, we'll see you.
Yeah. Bye.
Well, this next method is probably the most widely used method, especially since we're coming up on Memorial Day. And that is the grilling method over an open flame. It's what everybody does during the summer. Everyone's in their backyard with their grill, whether it's charcoal or propane or smoke pellets in the Traeger. Grilling is definitely what people enjoy doing during the spring, summer, and fall. And there, you can't go wrong when you're grilling. I'll just put it that way. So whether you're grilling vegetables or grilling chicken or pork chops or steak or ribeyes, or make even shrimp kebabs. Do you ever do shrimp kebabs on your grill, Brian?
I've done it for Shannon. I'm not a big kebab person, well, because I don't eat vegetables.
Well, you can do steak, fish, shrimp.
I'd rather just throw it in a skillet and throw eggs on it and make a scramble.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably the best way to do it. Back when Peggy and I were for vegans for a season, which was like a few months, I remember grilling our vegetables out on our grill, and you could taste them. But looking back at that time, it's because I think when you really get away from processed foods, your taste buds almost go through a resetting process, and it just allows you to taste real food. When you're eating something that's not processed, whether it's a vegetable or a meat, you're able just to enjoy the real flavor of what that item has to offer to you. And
Yeah, right. Because processed foods, it's just like your taste buds are being hijacked by, the chemists that put together that combination to make you addicted to it. So you
yeah,
don't really you're just getting this fake, like uh made up thing that your
right.
mouth is taking in.
It's amazing that they're able to replicate, or they pretty much give a flavor for any food item that's organically grown. Just like, perfumes, they're able to sit there and make any flavor, or not flavor, aroma, that you have in cologne or perfume. But it, like, you're talking about pina colada salt or pina colada electrolytes.
Yeah.
You're not having a real coconut, but they're able to mimic that in some place. So just like the processed foods, they're getting foods to taste like the original, without you actually eating the original. And it's hard to walk through a store and not have 90% of the store processed food, which is, the majority of what Americans are devouring. But I think if you are able to break free, whether you're able to stop eating the processed food and get back to a more organic way of living and eating, I think your taste buds will come alive. I think it's the reason why you're able to, like, taste sugar or the sweetness. Like, you don't need as much sweetness because your taste buds are no longer numbed from all the man-made chemicals that you've been putting into them. They're actually, very sensitive to taste, and you're able to start utilizing that you have.
Right. And yeah, just like I was saying with the burgers, I don't need anything on them anymore because they taste good to me the way they are. It's like, I don't need the ketchup and whatever people put on it. There's things.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The ketchup with the sugar in it and the corn syrup.
Dr. Steve-O, we're talking about your food group, brother. But there is you can notice a difference between taking pure ketchup, which they have out there that has no sugar added to it, and taste the flavors. And I think about Brian all the time when I do drink coffee just black. It's amazing because I've noticed that, even I've said this, well, I'm never not going to have my coffee without cream and stevia. But it's amazing. That really is just a habit that you get yourself into. And when you remove those habits, you're able to taste what you're really saying that you're enjoying, which is the coffee. And then it tastes weird when you add the stevia back into it. Like, I notice a difference. And I've been doing it without the heavy cream this week. So I'm taking baby steps, and I'm doing it every other day, alternating with my bone broth in a cup. Hopefully I get to the point where I just have bone broth instead of coffee. That's my goal. But it's a big change in what I've been consuming for a morning tradition for a lot of years now. But I think I will benefit from it in the long run. So what do you got going on this weekend, Brian? You guys, are you playing this weekend anywhere?
Yeah, we're up in Cumberland, Maryland, at the Rocky Gap Casino Resort.
Ooh, that's a nice casino. Now that's outside, right?
Yeah. We play up on the golf course, actually. Which is crazy that they let all those people up there to stomp around and
wow. So I didn't know that. So it's really held on the golf course. So they trample all over those greens.
Yeah, it might be the driving range. I'm not sure. I'm not a golfer, so I don't know what I'm looking at.
The only thing is there's a stage. It's in a golf course somewhere in the golf course, whether it's the putting greens or the driving range. It's there somewhere. Was that Friday night or Saturday night?
It's Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
they do have like this amphitheater, but it's down the road from the resort. And we played there one year, and it didn't make sense because all the parking is up by the hotel and the casino. So everybody
Right.
has to park up there, and then they got to go down the road to they were shuttling people down to the amphitheater, and they didn't have enough shuttles to handle everybody. So at the end of the night, like people are just like sort of stranded there for hours waiting for the shuttle bus, and so that didn't work out. So they moved it back up to the.
Well, that makes sense. Logistical issues for the reason why people are coming to stay there. They don't want to make it harder for them.
Yeah.
Plus, the quicker they get back to the casino, the quicker they can start losing their money. So to sit there and have them stranded after a concert, it's not helping them either.
Right. Well, the one thing though, they do have the river, I guess it's Cumberland River, I think, that runs behind it. I was saying they should just have one of those big shuttle boats, for
a ferrying people. Yeah.
and they could do both, they could just take the boat up or the other shuttle, the bus shuttle.
Well, maybe in the future, maybe that will happen. But for those who have made it this far along into the show, Brian's going to give you one bit of advice that will help boost your immune system and help you have more strength and energy. What bit of advice would that be, Brian?
Yeah, whether you're grilling, you're smoking, you're braising, you're searing. What was the fifth one?
we had a oh gosh, hold on a second, Brian. We got to knock them all out here. Saute, braise, roast, grill.
Okay. Any one of those, eat your meat.
Absolutely. I'll second that, and we'll see you guys next Friday night. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and stay out of that hospital. We'll see you, everybody.